Hi, I'm Bita from Balanced Wellness, and today we're going to be making a great salad. It's an autumn salad featuring kabocha squash. This is the lineup of ingredients for our squash salad. First off, our star ingredient, which is kabocha squash. I've cut it up already. We have goji berries right here, another star ingredient, hemp seeds, chopped fresh parsley, tahini sauce, which is going to make the base of our salad dressing, a Meyer lemon. We also have a couple of salts we're using. This is a bamboo salt from Hawaii. This is a Maldon salt, a flaky salt from England. 2 cloves of garlic, a little bit of water for the dressing, olive oil, coconut aminos, which is an all-purpose seasoning, umboshi plum vinegar, and this is the bed for our recipe. This is a mix of spinach and arugula. Now I'm going to show you guys how to do the squash component of the recipe. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our squash, which is already cut up, not peeled, because we're going to do something really groovy with the peel a little bit later. So I'm just going to give this a quick rinse because you never know when you're in the store what it could touch on the outside. Drain it. And then we're going to bake it on a parchment-lined tray. I don't like to use aluminum because of a lot of the detrimental health things, Alzheimer's, etc. So we're using parchment. And I'm putting a little bit of olive oil on it first. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my squash pieces, skin side down, and pop them on the parchment tray. And this is going to go into a preheated 400 Fahrenheit oven for about 25 to 30 minutes, depending on your oven, size of your squash, all of those things. And we are using today a wonderful salt. It's a salt called Maldon. It's from England. It's got a lot of flake, a lot of crunch. It's perfect for using on roasted foods. And then what we're going to do later on is we're going to use the squash peel to make a wonderful kind of pub-style hobo snack, kind of the kind of thing you could just not charge any money for or not incur any costs, and everyone's going to love it. Okay. So we've got all our squash almost laid out in the tray. It's looking really good. It's a beautiful, beautiful color too. This is the color of the sacral chakra, which is the second chakra. It's located right around the sexual organs, and it's wonderful around this time of year. This is a wonderful autumnal color. It's a grounding food. It's good for the spleen. It warms your body. So this is really, you know, if you want to live with the seasons and really eat, live, and breathe, this is the best way to do it. Just adding a generous amount of salt all over. And now this is going to go into a 400 Fahrenheit preheated oven for 20 to 25 minutes. So now we're going to work on making the dressing component for the salad. It's a tahini-based dressing. Tahini is a sesame seed butter, much like peanut butter, but made from sesame seeds. And if you weren't inclined to make the dressing, either you didn't have the ingredients or you didn't have the time, you could buy a bottled tahini-based dressing in any supermarket. So now we're going to start with the dressing, and I'm going to be utilizing this little mini prep food processor right here. And I'm going to add my ingredients to this, so it's a very easy dressing to make. Don't feel intimidated by it at all. By the time it's done made, you'll tell yourself you can make this yourself. So I'm going to start out with 2 garlic cloves, which are always part of a good tahini dressing. I'm going to use the flat end of my knife and just put my weight on it, and out pops the whole thing, just like that. Easy. No need to buy a garlic press or one of those garlic rolling devices. This is a lot better. So there we go. I freed the garlic from the skin, and now I'm putting it into my food processor. And for the citrus component of the recipe, we're using a Meyer lemon. You can maybe perhaps see that it's a little on the golden side, a little more on the orange side. This is a hybrid of a mandarin orange and a lemon. It's got a wonderful sweet flavor to it. So usually I'd add a little bit of honey or sugar to my dressings, but you don't really need to do it when you're using something like this. So now I'm going to use a reamer and I'm going to remove the juice from the lemon, catching all the pits while I do so in my bowl below me. Good tahini dressing always has a lot of lemon in it. This recipe calls for about 1/4 cup of dressing, or 1/4 cup of lemon juice rather. Okay. So now we'll just take those pits out, like so. Add, that's about 2 tablespoons right there. We're going to use the whole thing. And you can go a little heavier, like I said, because of the sweetness, using these lemons than you would if you were using just a regular standard lemon at the food store. If you don't have a reamer like I have in front of me, you could just use your hands and squeeze everything out and then just strain the juice using a little strainer. You just want to make sure you don't have any of those little pits in it. Okay, so we're all strained. I'm going to add that. That's 1/4 cup of lemon juice. Now I'm going to add the tahini. This is the sesame seed butter right here. And a good tip, this is true for peanut butter or almond butter, any nut butter. When you get this, when you bring this home from the store, take it and store it upside down. So all the oil from the bottom goes to the top. So you don't have to worry about, you know, mixing and mixing and mixing and having it fall on you. So that's just a nice tip to keep everything nice and creamy and homogenized. So I'm going to give this a quick mix because I did not do that, unfortunately. So here we go, just mixing it up. And now I'm going to add 1/2 cup of this tahini sesame seed butter into my dressing. This ingredient is utilized a lot in Middle Eastern cooking. Anyone who's ever had falafel will recognize tahini being used in the sauce that accompanies it. Okay, so here we go. 1/2 cup of tahini right into the blender, right like so. And I find that using this little mini prep, I'm more inclined to make this recipe because if I knew I had to break out my big food processor, I wouldn't be doing this. So this makes it easy for everybody. Okay, now we're going to add our olive oil component. Not too much, just 1/4 cup because we have 1/2 cup of tahini adding the fat to the recipe. So here we go, adding 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. Okay, now we are going to add salt. In this instance, we're using a bamboo salt from Hawaii. It's got a beautiful green color to it because of the bamboo it's treated with. It's a light salt. It has a very low salinity to it. It has a very nice kind of mellow salt taste, nothing too harsh or strong. It's a good salt for someone who isn't really a salt fan. But I am, so I'm going to add a more generous amount. Okay, so there's our salt. And now we're going to add a little bit of parsley. I took the liberty of chopping it up already. It's a flat leaf Italian chopped parsley. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of this. And then we have 2 final ingredients. They're kind of my secret all-purpose seasonings. I use these in a variety of recipes. First, we have umeboshi plum vinegar, which is actually a brine. It's not a true vinegar. It's a Japanese plum or apricot that's in a mixture of salt, water, and shiso leaf, which is a Japanese mint or basil leaf. It's very alkalizing, and it just adds like a kind of an all-purpose oomph to recipes. About 1/2 teaspoon, not too much. And don't worry about the hot pink color. It's not going to mess with the color of the dressing. And then finally, we have coconut aminos, which is also another all-purpose seasoning. It's soy-free. Adds a little bit of zip to the recipe and a little bit of sweetness. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the top on my little mini prep, and I'm going to buzz this up. Okay, as you can see, it's a pretty thick dressing, good portion. At this point, I'm going to add 1/4 cup of water into the recipe. Whenever you're working with tahini, you're always going to have to add a little bit of water to kind of cut it. It's true with peanut butter sauces and things of that nature as well. Okay, so let's put this back on. You can see it's getting more white and creamier as we go along. That's exactly what we want. Okay, let's give it a taste, make sure it tastes really good. That's good. I'm actually going to add a little bit more water to that, just to kind of thin it. This carafe is designed using properties of the golden ratio. And what that means is that it helps gather frequencies that restructure the water. Because when water comes out of your pipe, it hits kind of a lot of zigzags and jagged things. It's a wild ride. So this helps with the vibration to restructure the water.